Hey guys, this is Keir from rugbystrengthcoach.com. In today's video, I want to talk about one of the most common training fallacies or mistakes which I see rugby players, rugby strength and conditioning coaches make in their programs. And that is the notion that speed is built in the gym. So before we get started, I'm not telling you never to do strength work. Strength is great for its own sake because there are going to be scenarios on the pitch where we tax our strength heavily. So for example, rucking and mauling, tackling and so on. But strength is also great for laying a foundation for the development of other abilities like speed and power. It's a lot easier to make an athlete powerful and fast if they are strong to begin with. However, what I am saying is that you're not going to see any direct transfer from getting big and strong in the gym to running fast on the field of play. Recent research that was cited by Brian Mann on Elite FTS suggests that after about the first couple of years of training, if you just concentrate on traditional barbell, dumbbell, strength training programs in the gym, you're not going to see any increases in running speed on the field of play. And to me, this is massive because if you read a coach I really respect, Buddy Morris, who's worked at the NFL and college football, he's remarked before that the real distinguishing characteristic between an elite and a sub-elite athlete is the speed at which they play the game. It's not size, it's not strength, it's speed. And this is certainly something that I can relate to, having worked at so many different levels of rugby. To me, going from regional rugby all the way up to international test matches, I've seen big, strong players, plenty of them. The real difference from test to other levels for me is the speed at which the athletes play the game. That should give us a clue in itself, but also when you consider that we are a running-based sport, players are going to run 3, 4, 5,000 meters a game. We do a ton of sprinting in the game, and it's going to be a massive predictor of our ability to either make tackles and chase down attacking players or evade defending players when in attack. It's great to be strong and powerful, but if you're not in the right place at the right time because you're slow as shit, it's going to be useless. So speed is a massive part of the program. So if you're the typical rugby player, which means you're probably not going to be training speed at all within your program, one, you absolutely need to be training speed to get the most out of your program and maximize your performance on the field. If you're in that minority of rugby players who is doing speed training within your program, but you're unsure about how to implement it or what factors you need to pay attention to, now if that's you, this video is for you, and hopefully you're going to see an increase in your running speed on the field of play by implementing these tips. First tip is to make sure that you're not just concentrating on traditional barbell and dumbbell strength training programs within the gym. We've already said that this alone is not going to be sufficient to see an increase on the field of play. So what we need to do is implement exercises which help to build a bridge from the gym to the field. And by this, I'm talking about exercises which are more specific in nature according to the principles of dynamic correspondence, which were outlined by Professor Yuri Verkhoshansky. Things like range of movement, where within that movement we produce peak force, speed of movement, magnitude and direction of force, muscular stretch, contact time, and so on. And by this, I'm talking about exercises which are ballistic in nature. So, for example, the Olympic lifts, if you like to use them, jump squats, bench throws, trap bar jumps, and also exercises like jumps, plyometrics, and medicine ball throws. We're not going to see a perfect transfer from these exercises to sprinting speed, but definitely we're going to see a bigger transfer than for traditional strength training programs, and also it's going to help us to build on the foundation of force production which strength training has created. Second is to make sure that you're actually implementing actual strength training on the track or on the field into your program. Sprinting is the most sprinting specific exercise we can do, and it's the most potent central nervous system stimulus that we can present to the body. In order to maximally increase force production from the central nervous system, you need to sprint, and I would advise that you concentrate on both acceleration and top speed within your program. Now, as a fringe bonus, this isn't only going to make you faster, it's also going to make you stronger because it's such a potent stimulus to the central nervous system. Like famous sprint coach Charlie Francis said, speed will make weights go up, but weights will not make speed go up. And if you check out the webinar that I produced on 5 speed training mistakes, you can learn a little bit more about Charlie Francis and the kind of distances that he recommends you train with during sprint training. And a third tip that I would recommend you do is concentrate on what's known as the technical mastery aspect of speed, or technique. It's great to have the ability to produce a huge amount of force at high speed, but really, unless you learn how to apply that in the most efficient manner possible, it's ultimately useless and you're not going to learn how to run as fast as possible on the field of play. If you look at videos of the very best sprinters in the world slowed down, guys like Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, Asafa Powell, Tyson Gay, you'll see that all of these athletes share movement characteristics which are quite similar when they run at speed. What that suggests to me is that there's a good way to run and a bad way to run. And if you want to run as fast as possible, we should be trying to model this technique and change the way we run to be more like that and less like we see in the average rugby player. I'm not saying you have to dedicate as much time as an Olympic level athlete to increasing your running speed, but I would say 10 to 15 minutes a few times per week is a good place to start. That's what I use with my athletes, and definitely we've seen improvements in athletes' running technique at slow motion using that kind of volume of practice. If you'd like a little bit more detail, like I said, I offer a 30-minute free video on my website, which I'm going to link to below, which talks about the top 5 most frequent speed training mistakes that rugby players make within their speed training programs. Check it out and let me know what you think of it. And as ever, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share.